3 weeks before my wedding to Seo Jun, the retired mafia boss who'd claimed me after his son betrayed me. Everything fell apart. Not slowly. Not quietly. Violently. 5 armed men burst through the estate gates demanding blood for sins committed 30 years ago. Ji-hoon, my cheating ex, Seo Jun's son, stood in the doorway, his face a mixture of rage and satisfaction. "This is what you get," he said to his father. "This is what happens when you think you can just retire from who you really are." Seo Jun looked at me with eyes that had suddenly gone cold. "Military. Lethal. Julian, go upstairs. Lock the door. Don't come out until I tell you." "What's happening?" "My past is collecting debts, and I have to pay them." He kissed my forehead, gentle, final, and then became someone I'd never seen before. The Reaper. That's what they'd called him. Seo Jun Kong, the man who'd built an empire on calculated violence before walking away to find peace. Peace was over, and while he was gone fighting wars I couldn't understand, I would meet someone who made me question everything, including whether loving a reformed killer was worth the cost. Wait, the retired mafia boss is getting dragged back into his old life right before the wedding? His son is watching like "I told you so"? And Julian's about to meet someone else while he's gone? Oh, this is about to get messy. Subscribe now because episode 2 is where everything you thought you knew gets flipped. Trust me, you don't want to miss this. My name is Julian Backman, and 3 months ago, I made the most reckless decision of my life. I fell in love with my ex-fiance's father. Not just any father. Seo Jun Kong, 58 years old, retired Korean mafia boss, widower whose late wife had also been Black American like me. A man who'd spent 3 decades building a criminal empire before walking away to find peace. Peace he'd found somehow with me. It had started as revenge. Pure, simple revenge against Ji-hoon, the man who'd cheated on me 3 weeks before our wedding with his secretary Hygiene Park. The man who'd looked me in the eye and said I was fine for now, but not wife material for the long term. I'd driven to Seo Jun's estate at midnight, hurt and angry and looking for, I don't know what, acknowledgement? An apology? Some recognition that his son had destroyed me? What I'd gotten was Seo Jun himself, opening the door in a silk robe, silver hair perfectly styled even at midnight, looking at me with eyes that saw everything. "You're Julian," he'd said. Not a question. My son's former fiancé. Former as of 4 hours ago.
Come in.
That night had changed everything. His offer of refuge became protection. Protection became a genuine connection. Connection became something neither of us had expected or were prepared for. For 3 months, we'd been building something real. Something that transcended the revenge that brought us together. I'd moved into his estate. Not as a kept woman, Seo Jun was very clear about that. As a partner. An equal. Someone he wanted to build a future with. 2 weeks ago, he'd proposed. I'd said yes. The wedding was planned for next month. Small ceremony. Just as close friends, my small family, and complications. Ji-hoon had refused to attend. Had cut off all contact with his father, calling our relationship a disgrace and pathetic revenge. Seo Jun's ex-wife, Min-seo, Ji-hoon's mother, had reached out asking to meet me. That meeting had been tense. She'd left Seo Jun 15 years ago because of his violence, his lifestyle, the blood that never quite washed off his hands. She looked at me with something like pity. "You think he's changed?" "He hasn't. He's just hiding what he is. And eventually, Julian, the mask will slip. He's been retired for 12 years. Men like Seo Jun don't retire. They just wait." I dismissed her warnings. Convinced myself she was bitter, jaded, unable to see that people could change. I was wrong. Because 3 weeks before our wedding, 5 armed men showed up at the estate gates. And the man I thought I knew put on his old armor and became someone I'd never seen. The Reaper. That's what they'd called him in his prime. Seo Jun Kong, the strategist who'd turned a small Korean gang into a multinational criminal organization through calculated violence and ruthless efficiency. He'd walked away at 46, built legitimate businesses, became a philanthropist, donated millions to schools and hospitals, convinced everyone, including himself, that he'd left that life behind. But the past doesn't let you go just because you want it to. And now, watching him prepare for war, I realized I'd fallen in love with a fantasy. The real Seo Jun Kong was about to show me exactly what retired really meant. The Yamamoto family arrived at dawn. I woke to the sound of car engines, multiple vehicles pulling up to the estate's front gate. Seo Jun was already out of bed, standing at the window in his robe, his posture rigid in a way I'd never seen before. "What is it?" I asked, my voice still rough with sleep. "The past." He said it so quietly I almost didn't hear. Then the intercom buzzed. The head of security, a man named Taemin who'd worked for Seo Jun for 30 years, spoke in rapid Korean. I didn't understand the words, but I understood the urgency. Seo Jun's response was calm, measured. But I saw his hand clench into a fist. "What's happening?" I sat up, pulling the sheet around me.
"Get dressed.
Quickly. Professional clothes, nothing flashy." He moved to his closet, pulling out a suit I'd never seen him wear.
Black.
Perfectly tailored. Somehow more intimidating than the casual luxury he usually preferred. "Seo Jun, you're scaring me."
Good.
"You should be scared. The Yamamoto family is here. They want retribution for something I did 30 years ago." My stomach dropped. "What did you do?" "I killed someone's brother to prevent a war between our organizations. It was the right call at the time. It's still the right call by the logic of that world. But his nephew, Yamamoto Takashi, just inherited his father's operation and found evidence linking me to the death." I climbed out of bed, my hands shaking as I reached for clothes. "Can't you just explain?" "Negotiate." "I will. But Julian, you need to understand something. These men don't operate by normal rules. They operate by honor, blood, and power. If I show weakness, they'll take everything, including you. So what do? We face them. Together. But you stay quiet. Let me handle this. Please." His voice on that last word, "please," told me how serious this was. 20 minutes later, we sat in Seo Jun's formal dining room. The room I'd only been in once before for a dinner party with his business associates. Expensive table. Crystal chandelier. Paintings worth more than my old apartment. 5 Japanese men in expensive suits occupied one side of the table. Seo Jun and I sat on the other, with Taemin standing behind us like a sentinel. The man at the head of their group, Yamamoto Takashi, was younger than I expected. Maybe late 40s, with sharp features and eyes that assessed everything in the room, including me, Seo Jun Kong. His English was perfect, barely accented. The Reaper. Retired, I'm told. For 12 years. Retirement doesn't erase debts.
No.
It doesn't. Which is why I'm willing to discuss terms. Terms? Yamamoto's smile was cold. "You killed my uncle, Takashi Yamamoto. 1994, a bullet to the head during what you claimed was a failed negotiation. It was a failed negotiation. Your uncle tried to assassinate 3 of my lieutenants during a peace meeting. I responded. With murder. With justice. By our world's rules. Rules you claim to no longer follow." Yamamoto gestured at the estate, at me, at the carefully constructed life of legitimacy surrounding us. "You live in luxury now. Legitimate businessman. Philanthropist. The blood has been washed away, yes. The blood never washes away. But I've spent 12 years building something better. And yet..." Yamamoto's eyes slid to me. Lingered. "You're marrying a woman young enough to be your daughter. A woman who is engaged to your son. Some might say you're still taking what you want without regard for consequences." I felt Seo Jun tense beside me. His hand, resting on the table, clenched slightly. Careful, he said quietly. His voice had dropped an octave. Something dangerous had entered it. Or what? You'll kill me like you killed my uncle? Yamamoto leaned forward. I'm here to collect a debt, Reaper. Not negotiate. You have two choices. Pay with your life or pay with service. What service? There's a man, Tanaka Hiro. He betrayed both our families 15 years ago, stole money, weapons, information, disappeared into the wind. We recently located him in Singapore. He's protected, heavily. It would take someone with your particular skills to extract him and deliver him to us. You want me to kidnap someone? We want you to complete one final mission. Prove you haven't gone soft. Prove you're still the Reaper. Do this, and we'll consider your debt paid. Refuse. Yamamoto's smile turned predatory. And we'll take payment in other ways. Meaning? Meaning accidents happen. Beautiful estates burn. Beautiful women get hurt. Sons lose their businesses through unfortunate circumstances. The threat was clear. Unmistakable. I felt sick. Seo Jun stood slowly. When he spoke, his voice was different. Colder. Harder. This wasn't the gentle man who'd held me last night. This was someone else entirely. You threaten what's mine. You invoke rules you claim to follow. So, let's be very clear. If you touch her, if you touch anything that belongs to me, I will burn your entire organization to the ground. I will kill every member of your family. I will make your uncle's death look merciful compared to what I'll do to you. Yamamoto didn't flinch. If anything, he looked satisfied. Like he'd been testing something and gotten the confirmation he wanted. So you're still in there. The Reaper.
Good.
Then you'll have no trouble with this job. How long? 3 weeks. Maybe 4. Singapore is complicated. And if I succeed, your debt is paid. Forever. You live your retirement in peace. We never contact you again. And if I fail, then we collect in blood. Seo Jun was quiet for a long moment. I could see him calculating, weighing options, making decisions I couldn't begin to understand. Finally, I accept. But I have conditions. Name them. My son accompanies me. Ji-hoon knows the Singapore operation. He's handled our legitimate shipping business there for years. His knowledge will make this faster, cleaner. Your son hates you.
Yes.
But he hates Tanaka more. Tanaka stole from our family specifically. Ji-hoon has motivation to see this through. And your woman? Stays here. Under protection. If anything happens to her while I'm gone, our deal is void and I come for all of you. Every single one. The menace in his voice made the temperature drop. Yamamoto considered this. Then nodded. Agreed. You have 24 hours to prepare. We'll provide intelligence on Tanaka's location and security. After that, you're on your own. Succeed or fail, but don't come back until it's done. After they left, Seo Jun pulled me into his study, locked the door, stood with his back to it like he was physically blocking out the world. I'm sorry, he said. I thought I'd buried this deep enough. I was wrong. 3 weeks. My voice came out smaller than I intended. Maybe 4. It depends on how heavily Tanaka is protected. How careful he's been. And Ji-hoon? You're really bringing your son? He can barely stand to be in the same room with you. I don't have a choice. He knows the territory. He knows the business networks. And Seo Jun's voice dropped. This might be the only way to fix what's broken between us. He'll see me work. See that I'm still capable. Maybe he'll understand why I made the choices I made. Or maybe he'll resent you more for proving you were always this person. That you can't actually escape who you were. Maybe. He moved closer, pulled me against his chest. I could feel his heart beating, faster than usual, but still controlled. But I have to try. For us. For our future. I need to close this door permanently. What if you can't close it? What if there's always another Yamamoto? Another debt? Another ghost from your past? Then we deal with it.
Together. No.
I pulled back to look at him. I can't do this, Seo-jun. I can't live wondering when the next threat will show up. When the next person you killed or hurt or destroyed will come demanding payment. Julian. I fell in love with a retired man trying to be better. But you're not retired, are you? You're just paused. Waiting. And the moment someone pushes, you become the Reaper again. His expression cracked. Pain flashing across his face before he rebuilt his composure. You're right. I thought I could walk away. Thought 12 years was enough distance.
But the past doesn't work that way.
It doesn't care how much time passes or how hard you try to change. It just waits. So what do we do? I complete this mission. I pay this debt. And then he touched my face gently. And then you decide if you can live with who I really am. Not who I want to be. Not who I'm trying to be. But who I am when threatened. When my people are in danger. What if I decide I can't? Then I'll understand. And I'll let you go. Because, Julian, I love you enough to want you safe more than I want you with me. That's not fair.
No.
But it's true. The doorbell rang. Taemin's voice over the intercom. Sir, Ji-hoon is here. Send him to my study. Ji-hoon entered moments later. My ex-fiancé. The man who'd cheated on me 3 weeks before our wedding and started this whole impossible chain of events. He looked at me with an expression I couldn't quite read. Then at his father.
So,
the Yamamoto family. His voice was hard. I told you retirement was an illusion. I told you the past would come back. You did. You were right. And now you want me to help you clean up your mess. I need you to help me protect this family. To knock a stole from us too. From the legitimate businesses you're running. He's a loose end that needs tying up. Funny how your loose ends always require violence. This one does, yes. Ji-hoon looked at me. And you're just accepting this? He's leaving for weeks to go kidnap someone and you're fine with it. I'm not fine with it. But what choice do I have? You could leave. Walk away. Find a normal man with a normal life. Is that what you want? Me gone so you can have your father back without complications. I want. Ji-hoon stopped. Started again. I don't know what I want. I spent 34 years watching my father choose violence over family. Watching him miss birthdays and school events because there was always another crisis. Another war. Another threat that mattered more than his son. I know, Seo-jun said quietly. I failed you. Failed your mother. That's why I retired. You retired because mom left you. Not because you suddenly developed a conscience. Ji-hoon's voice was harsh. And now you're marrying a woman I was engaged to, dragging me back into your world, and expecting me to what? Pretend this is normal? Pretend we're a functional family? I'm expecting you to help me protect what's ours. After that, you can go back to hating me. I'll understand. The two men stared at each other. Father and son. So much anger and pain between them, it was almost physical. Finally, Ji-hoon nodded.
Fine.
I'll help. But not for you. For the businesses. For the people who work for us who don't deserve to suffer because of your past. That's all I'm asking. And when this is over, we go back to our corners. You live your life with her. He gestured at me dismissively. And I live mine. No more forced family dinners. No more pretending. If that's what you want, it is. After Ji-hoon left to pack, Seo-jun pulled me close again. He's right, he said. About all of it. I did choose violence over family. I did fail them. And now I'm asking you to wait while I prove I'm still the monster I always was. You're not a monster. Yes, Julian.
I am.
A monster who's been on his best behavior for 12 years. But the moment someone threatens what's mine, I become exactly what I always was. And you need to decide if you can live with that. What if I can't? Then when I come back, if I come back, we'll talk. And if you've decided to leave, I won't stop you. You just let me go? I love you enough to want you happy, even if that means happy without me.
He kissed me then.
Deep and desperate and final. Like goodbye. Because maybe it was. They left the next morning. Seo-jun and Ji-hoon, barely speaking, heading to the airport with Taemin and 4 other security personnel. Men whose faces told me they'd done this before. Who knew what extracting someone actually meant. I stood in the driveway and watched them go. Seo-jun turned back once. Looked at me like he was memorizing my face. Then they were gone. And I was alone in an estate that suddenly felt like a prison. Beautiful. Luxurious. Empty.
Tai minä prompsed.
Ms. Backman, I've assigned security for you. 2 guards at all times. You're not to leave the estate without an escort. I'm a prisoner. You're protected. There's a difference. Is there? He looked at me with something like sympathy. Mr. Kong loves you very much. Everything he's doing is to keep you safe. And if keeping me safe means becoming someone I can't love anymore, then you'll have to decide which is more important, safety or love. Most people don't get to choose. You do. He left me standing in the driveway, staring at the empty road. Wondering if I'd just seen Seo-jun Kong for the last time. Wondering if the man who came back, if he came back, would be someone I still wanted to marry. 3 weeks. Maybe 4. 21 to 28 days to figure out if I could love a monster. Even a monster who was trying to be better. The first week was the hardest. Not physically. The estate staff maintained their routines, cooking, cleaning, tending the gardens. Everything looked the same, but it felt empty. Hollow. Like a stage set with all the furniture, but none of the life. I tried to work. Opened my laptop and attempted to focus on the marketing campaigns I was managing remotely. But every noise made me jump. Every car on the road made me think. Is it them? Are they back? No word from Seo-jun. Taemin had explained that communication during the mission was too risky. They were operating in foreign territory, dealing with dangerous people. Any contact could compromise their position. So I waited and wondered. And slowly started to lose my mind. You need to get out of this house, my sister said during our daily phone call. You're going to go crazy sitting there alone. I have security. I can't just leave. Then have them take you somewhere. Coffee shop.
Park.
Anywhere that reminds you life exists outside that estate. She was right. On day 5, I told my security team, 2 men named Sungmin and Daeho, that I needed to leave the estate or I'd start screaming. Where would you like to go? Sungmin asked. Anywhere normal. A coffee shop, with normal people doing normal things. They exchanged a look but agreed. 30 minutes later, I sat in a small cafe in downtown, the kind of place I used to frequent before Ji-hoon, before Seo-jun, before my life became complicated. Local art on the walls. Students on laptops. Baristas who smiled at customers instead of treating them like security threats. It was blissfully, beautifully normal. I ordered a latte and found a corner table. My guards positioned themselves by the door, trying to be inconspicuous and failing completely. 2 men in suits and obvious shoulder holsters weren't exactly subtle. But I didn't care. For the first time in 5 days, I could breathe. I was checking my phone, still no word from Seo-jun. Still no updates, when I heard a man's voice at the counter. Agitated. Desperate. I'm telling you, they stole everything. Every single dollar. And now they're threatening me if I go to the police. The barista looked profoundly uncomfortable. I'm sorry, sir, but I really can't help with this. I'm not asking you to help. The man's voice cracked. I'm just trying to figure out what to do. Who to trust. How to fix this. I looked up. He was mid-30s, black, dressed in business casual that had seen better days. His hands shook as he paid for his coffee. Everything about him screamed exhausted desperation. Something about his pain tugged at me. Maybe it was loneliness. Maybe it was the need to focus on someone else's problems instead of my own spiraling anxiety. Maybe I was just tired of feeling useless. Excuse me, I said, approaching him. I couldn't help overhearing. You said someone stole from you. He looked at me warily. Took in my expensive clothes, Seo Jun's taste, his money.
Yeah.
Why? Because I might know people who can help. His name was Daniel Rivers. We moved to a more private table, away from the counter, away from curious ears. My security watched from a distance, alert but not interfering. I own a small business, Daniel explained. Import, export, African textiles and art. It was doing well. Not great, but growing. Then 6 months ago, I was approached by a businessman.
Korean.
Connected. He offered a partnership that would expand my operation internationally. And it seemed legitimate. Contracts, lawyers, everything official. He had references. A business address. The whole package. Daniel's hands clenched around his coffee cup. I invested everything. My savings. A loan against my house. Money from my parents' estate that was supposed to be for my future. What happened? 3 months in, the money disappeared.
Just gone.
The contracts turned out to be worthless, full of clauses that essentially said I had no recourse. The partner vanished. His business address was a fake. When I tried to pursue it legally, I got a visit from men who made it very clear that pursuing this further would be bad for my health. My stomach clenched. I knew that story. Knew the kind of men who made those visits. Do you have names? Documentation? Everything. Daniel pulled out his phone, showed me contracts with names and signatures. Emails. Bank transfers. But what good does it do? I can't go to the police. These guys made it clear that would end badly for me. I can't hire lawyers. I'm broke. I'm about to lose my house. My business is dead. Everything my parents worked for, everything I built, just gone. I looked at the contracts. Saw names I didn't recognize. But the business structure, the way it was set up, I'd seen similar operations in Seo Jun's files. This was connected to his world. Had to be. What if I told you I might be able to help?
Daniel stared at me.
How could you possibly help? I have connections. To people who operate in the same world as the people who stole from you. You're not law enforcement.
No.
Then what are you? Good question. What was I? The fiancé of a retired mafia boss who wasn't really retired? Someone who'd stumbled into this world 3 months ago and was still figuring out the rules? I'm someone who has access to people who can make things happen outside official channels. If you want justice, real justice, I might be able to help you get it. Why would you do that?
You don't even know me.
Because I stopped. Why was I doing this? Because I can. Because you deserve better than what happened to you. Because I'm sitting in this estate going crazy while my fiancé is off doing something dangerous, and I need to feel like I'm not completely powerless. Your fiancé? It's complicated. Clearly. Daniel studied me. This is insane. Yes. I don't even know your name. Julian. Julian Backman. Daniel Rivers. He extended his hand. I shook it. His grip was warm, firm, honest. Julian, why do I feel like saying yes to this is going to change my life? Because it probably will. But it might also get you your money back and destroy the people who hurt you. Isn't that worth the risk?
He thought about it.
I could see him weighing options, measuring desperation against caution. Finally, okay, what do we do first? First, we figure out exactly who took your money and where it went. Then we figure out how to make them regret it. I pulled out my phone, texted Taemin. Need information on a business fraud. Korean operation targeting small businesses. Can you help? His response came within minutes. Send details. We'll investigate. But Ms. Backman, Mr. Kong would not want you involved in this type of matter. I typed back. Mr. Kong isn't here. I am. Send me whatever you find. After a pause, as you wish. I looked at Daniel. Give me 2 days. I'll have information on who stole from you, how they did it, and where your money went. You can really do that. I can really do that. Julian, who are you? Really? Someone who's in way over her head, but trying to help anyway. He laughed, surprising himself, I think. That's the most honest thing anyone said to me in months. Good. Because everything else about the situation is going to be complicated and probably a little scary. But I promise I'll be honest with you. About your connections? About everything I can safely tell you. That's a concerning qualification.
Yes.
It is. Are you still in? Daniel looked at his phone. At the contracts and documents that represented everything he'd lost. At the evidence of systematic fraud that had destroyed his life. Then at me.
Yes.
I'm still in. We exchanged numbers. Made plans to meet the next day to go over whatever information Taemin uncovered. As I watched Daniel leave the cafe, Sungmin approached. Ms. Backman, should I be concerned about that interaction? Probably. But I'm helping him anyway. Mr. Kong isn't here, and I'm an adult making my own choices. Is that going to be a problem? Sungmin studied me, then shook his head.
No, ma'am.
Just be careful. The people who steal from small businesses don't appreciate interference. I'll keep that in mind. That night, alone in the massive bed I'd been sharing with Seo Jun, I wondered what I was doing. I was engaged to a man who is currently in Singapore doing something dangerous. A man whose past kept demanding payment. A man who might not come back. And I just committed to helping a stranger using connections I barely understood and resources that weren't mine. It was reckless. Possibly stupid. But for the first time in 5 days, I felt like I had purpose. Like I wasn't just sitting around waiting for Seo Jun to come home. I was doing something. Making a difference. Using the access I'd been given to help someone who needed it. Even if that access came with a price I wasn't sure I could pay. Taemin delivered the information the next morning. A complete dossier on the company that had defrauded Daniel. Choi Enterprises, a semi-legitimate import-export operation that specialized in targeting small minority-owned businesses, stealing their capital through fraudulent partnerships, then disappearing before legal action could be taken. They've done this at least 15 times in the past 3 years, Taemin explained. Always the same pattern. Approach a struggling but promising business. Offer expansion capital. Get access to their accounts. Then vanish with everything. And the police? Victims are usually too scared to report. The men who run Choi Enterprises have connections to organized crime. They make it clear that cooperation with authorities will result in unfortunate consequences. Connected to Seo Jun's old organization? Tangentially. Choi used to work for one of Mr. Kang's lieutenants. When Mr. Kang retired, Choi went independent. He uses the reputation of the old organization without actually being part of it anymore. Can we stop him? We can apply pressure. Make it clear he's operating without protection. Force him to return the money or face consequences. Do it. Taemin looked uncomfortable. Ms. Backman, this will require significant resources. Mr. Kang's reputation. Possibly direct intervention. Are you certain? I'm certain. Daniel Rivers is a good man who got targeted because of his race and his vulnerability. These people need to face consequences. As you wish. But be aware, this will pull you deeper into our world. Once we start applying pressure, people will notice. We'll ask questions about who's protecting Mr. Rivers and why. Let them ask. And when Mr. Kang returns? I'll explain. He'll understand. Taemin's expression said he wasn't so sure. But he nodded. I'll begin immediately. I met Daniel at the cafe again that afternoon. Spread the dossier across our table. Minus the most incriminating details about how we'd obtain the information. This is insane, Daniel said, reading through the documents. You got this in less than 24 hours. I told you I had good resources. You have scary resources.
He looked up at me.
Julian, who are you really? Because this isn't normal. This level of information, this fast about criminal activity, this is either law enforcement or something else entirely. Something else entirely. Criminal something else? Reformed criminal something else. Mostly. Daniel set down the papers. I need you to be straight with me. What am I getting involved in? I took a breath. Decided honesty was the only option. I'm engaged to a man who used to run a major organized crime operation in this city. Korean mafia, essentially. He retired 12 years ago, built legitimate businesses, became a philanthropist. But he still has connections, resources, people who owe him favors. You're engaged to a mafia boss. Retired mafia boss. That's a hell of a distinction. It's an important one. He's not active anymore, but he still has access to information networks and security resources that normal people don't. And you're using those resources to help me. Yes. Does he know? He's currently out of the country on business. When he gets back, I'll tell him. What kind of business? The kind I can't talk about. Daniel processed this. I watched him wrestle with conflicting impulses, the desire to get his life back versus the fear of getting involved with criminals. Finally, the people who stole from me. Can you actually make them return my money?
Yes.
Not all of it. There will be administrative fees that are basically protection payments. But the bulk of it, yes.
How?
By making it clear they're operating without protection. That they've angered someone more powerful than they are. That continuing to hold your money will cost them more than returning it. You're going to threaten them. We're going to apply pressure through channels they understand. That's a very polite way of saying the same thing.
Yes.
It is. Daniel leaned back in his chair. My mother would be horrified if she knew I was even considering this. What would she want you to do? Fight back. Get justice. Not let them destroy everything my parents worked for. He looked at me directly. Okay, I'm in. Tell me what I need to do. Nothing. You stay away from this. Let me and my people handle it. When it's resolved, I'll contact you. That's it? I just sit back and let the mafia handle it. Retired mafia. And yes, that's it. Why are you doing this, Julian? Really? Because I don't buy that you're just bored and looking for a project. He was perceptive. I'd give him that. Because watching someone get destroyed by people who think they're untouchable makes me angry. Because I have access to power and not using it to help people feels like a waste. Because I stopped. Because my fiancé is off proving he's still the dangerous man he used to be, and I need to prove I can be more than just someone waiting for him to come home. Understanding flickered across Daniel's face. You're lonely. Yes. And scared. Yes. And you're helping me to feel less powerless. Probably. That's remarkably self-aware. I'm trying. We sat in silence for a moment. Then Daniel asked, when your fiancé gets back, what happens to us? This, whatever this is. I don't know. Probably we go our separate ways. You rebuild your business. I figure out if I can actually marry a man with his past. Do you love him?
Yes.
Very much. But you're not sure if love is enough.
No.
I'm not sure of anything anymore. Daniel reached across the table. Took my hand. Not romantic, just human connection.
Thank you, he said.
For seeing me. For helping. For caring about a stranger's problems when you have your own to deal with. You're welcome. And Julian, whatever happens with your fiancé, whatever you decide, I hope you find what you're looking for. What do you think I'm looking for?
Peace.
Safety. Someone who makes you feel like you're enough exactly as you are. His words hit harder than expected. Because he was right. That's exactly what I was looking for. And I didn't know if Seo Jun could give me those things. Even if he loved me. Even if he tried. Over the next 3 days, Daniel and I worked together to build a complete picture of how Choi Enterprises operated. We met every afternoon at the cafe. Reviewed documents. Tracked money trails. Built a case that Taemin's people could use to apply pressure. And somewhere in that process, Daniel stopped being a stranger I was helping. He became something more. A friend. Someone I looked forward to seeing. Someone who made me laugh with stories about his family and his business struggles. Someone who represented everything Seo Jun wasn't. Normal. uncomplicated, safe. My mother used to warn me about deals that seemed too good to be true, Daniel said one afternoon. She'd say, baby, if someone's offering you the moon, check if they own the sky first. And I ignored her because I wanted so badly to expand, to make her proud. You did make her proud. Growing a business from nothing is hard. And losing it to criminals because I was naive is humiliating. You weren't naive. You were trusting. There's a difference. Is there? Because I keep thinking, if I'd been more careful, more suspicious, I wouldn't be in this situation. I wouldn't need help from someone with mafia connections. The people who stole from you were professional criminals. You couldn't have known. Maybe, but I should have been smarter. Daniel, you're being too hard on yourself. Am I? Or am I just finally seeing reality clearly? He looked at me. You do that, you know. Make me feel better about being an idiot. You're not an idiot. You're a good person who got taken advantage of. That's not the same thing. Is your fiancé a good person? The question caught me off guard. Why do you ask? Because you talk about him in past tense. He was powerful.
He was involved.
Like he's already gone. He's on a business trip. He'll be back.
When?
I don't know. Soon. And when he gets back, what happens to us?
Us.
The word hung between us like a question I wasn't ready to answer. Daniel. I know. You're engaged. I'm just a guy you're helping. But Julian, I need to be honest with you. He leaned forward. These past few days, working with you, getting to know you, you've become the best part of my day. And I hope, I've become part of yours too. He was right. He had. Daniel made me feel normal. Made me laugh. Made me forget that I was living in an estate under security protection while my fiancé did dangerous things in foreign countries. This is complicated. I managed. I know. CO June is important to me. What we have is real. I believe you. But Julian, he reached for my hand, is what you have with him based on who he is now, or who he used to be? Because from what you've told me, he's in Singapore doing something dangerous. Something connected to his old life. And you're here alone, helping a stranger because you're lonely and scared. That's not fair. Maybe not. But is it wrong? I pulled my hand away. Stood. I need to go. Julian, wait.
No.
You're right, this is complicated, and I need to think. I left him sitting there. Walked to my car where Sungmin waited. Let him drive me back to the estate. That night, alone in my room, I stared at my phone. Still no word from CO June.
10 days now. No updates.
No contact. For all I knew, he was dead. Or captured. Or had decided Singapore was better than coming home to a woman who wasn't sure she could marry him. And Daniel, kind, honest Daniel, had made it clear he was interested in more than just my help. I was engaged to a dangerous man I loved, but wasn't sure I could live with. And attracted to a safe man who represented everything I thought I wanted before CO June. How had my life become so impossibly complicated? Oh no. She's definitely catching feelings for Daniel while her mafia fiancé is MIA? And Daniel just admitted he's falling for her? Subscribe because this love triangle is about to explode and someone's heart is getting shattered. Possibly everyone's. Don't miss what happens next. CO June came home on day 19. Not 3 weeks. Not 4. 19 days. Longer than expected. Long enough that I'd started having nightmares about him not coming back at all. I was in the garden with Daniel. We'd just gotten confirmation that Choi Enterprises had agreed to return most of his money when I heard the commotion. Car engines.
Shouting.
People rushing. My heart stopped. Julian. Taemin's voice from the house. Mr. Kong is home. He's injured. I ran. Found CO June in the foyer, leaning heavily on Ji-hoon's shoulder. His shirt was torn and dark with blood. His face was pale, but his eyes were alert.
Alive.
He was alive. It's not as bad as it looks, he said when he saw my expression. You're bleeding. Flesh wound. Nothing vital hit. The doctor will patch me up. He looked past me, at Daniel standing in the doorway, frozen. Who's that? I can explain. Later. First, the doctor. Dr. Kim arrived within 20 minutes, a woman who'd clearly dealt with Seo Jun's injuries before. She worked efficiently, cutting away his shirt, cleaning the wound. Knife wound along his ribs. Deep but not life-threatening. You're lucky, she said, stitching him up. Few inches over and you'd have lost a lung. I'm always lucky, doctor. You're always reckless. Retirement was supposed to mean no more midnight calls to patch up stab wounds. This was the last time. You said that 12 years ago. After she left, I sat beside Seo Jun's bed. Ji-hoon stood in the corner, arms crossed, watching us with an unreadable expression. What happened? I asked. The mission was more complicated than expected. Tanaka had better security than anticipated. More resources. He'd spent 15 years building protections specifically against people like me. Seo Jun's voice was tired. But we got him. Delivered him to Yamamoto. The debt is paid. And your injury? Tanaka fought back. He was good. Better than I expected for someone who's been in hiding. He touched the bandages gingerly. This is from one of his bodyguards. I was focused on Tanaka, didn't see the second man coming. Ji-hoon saved my life. I looked at Ji-hoon, my ex-fiancé.
Seo Jun's.
The man who'd spent the past 3 months alternating between hating his father and hating me. You saved him? I wasn't going to let him die on a Singapore rooftop, Ji-hoon said flatly. No matter how angry I am, he's still my father. Something in his voice, grudging affection, mixed with resentment. Thank you, I said. Don't. I didn't do it for you. I know. But thank you anyway. Ji-hoon looked at his father. I'm going home. Going to sleep for about 20 hours. Then I'm going back to pretending this never happened. Ji-hoon, Seo Jun started. We're not suddenly close because we survived a mission together. You're still the father who chose violence over family. I'm still the son who resents you. The only difference is now I understand why people feared you. You're good at what you do. Terrifyingly good. Is that respect I hear? It's acknowledgement. You were effective in Singapore. Strategic. Everything people said you were. Ji-hoon moved toward the door. But that doesn't erase 30 years of feeling secondary to your work. It just explains why you chose it over us. You were built for that life. Not for this one. After he left, Seo Jun closed his eyes. He's right.
About what?
I was built for violence. I'm good at it. Better than I am at being a father. Better than I am at being, he stopped. Better than you are at being what? At being someone you can trust to stay retired. To really leave that world behind. He opened his eyes. Looked at me directly. I saw myself in Singapore. Really saw myself. When I was working, when I was strategizing, when I was in that element, I felt alive in a way I haven't felt in 12 years. My stomach clenched. You missed it.
Yes. God help me, yes.
I missed the clarity. The purpose. Knowing exactly who I was and what I was supposed to do. His hand found mine. And that terrifies me, because it means retirement isn't redemption. It's just waiting. For what? For an excuse to become the Reaper again. We sat in silence. The truth hanging between us like a third presence in the room. Finally, I said, tell me about the man in the garden. Daniel? How do you know his name? Taemin told me. Told me you've been helping him. Using my connections to investigate a fraud case. He smiled slightly. You've been busy while I was gone. He needed help. People connected to your old organization stole from him. I thought. You thought using my resources to get him justice would make you feel less powerless. Yes. And did it. For a while. Until I realized I was also using it as an excuse to not think about you possibly dying in Singapore. Julian. He pulled me closer, carefully, mindful of his injury. I need you to tell me the truth. Are you in love with him? The question I'd been avoiding for days. I don't know. I care about him. He's kind and good and represents everything normal. Everything I thought I wanted before I met you. Do you want to be with him instead of me? I don't know what I want anymore. Seo-jun was quiet for a long moment. When he spoke, his voice was resigned. Then you need to figure it out. Because Julian, I love you enough to want you happy. Even if that means happy with someone else. How can you say that? Because I spent 19 days in Singapore remembering who I really am. And that person, the Reaper, isn't someone you should build a life with. That person will always have enemies.
Will always have debts.
Will always be one crisis away from violence. You're saying I should choose Daniel. I'm saying you should choose whoever can give you the life you actually want. Not the life you think you should want. Not the exciting, dangerous romance. The actual day-to-day reality you can live with. And if I choose him, then I'll understand. And I'll let you go. Because that's what love means. Wanting someone's joy more than wanting them. Tears burned my eyes. I don't want to hurt you. Then don't. Just be honest. With me. With yourself. With Daniel. He touched my face. I brought you into my world 3 months ago when you were broken and looking for revenge against my son. I gave you protection and power and a place to heal. But Julian, that doesn't mean you owe me forever. If you've healed enough to want something different, something safer, that's okay. Seo-jun.
I'm tired.
And drugged. And I just spent 19 days doing things I'm not proud of. Can we talk about this tomorrow? After I've slept? Of course. I kissed his forehead. Felt him relax into the pillows. As I left the room, I heard him whisper, I love you. Whatever you choose. I found Daniel still in the garden. Pacing. Looking terrified. Is he okay? He asked immediately. Injured but stable. He'll recover.
Good.
That's good. Daniel ran a hand through his hair. Julian, I should go. I shouldn't be here. Not with your fiancé home and hurt. Daniel, wait.
No.
This is wrong. I knew it was wrong, but I let myself, he stopped. I let myself hope. That maybe you'd choose me over him. That maybe what we built these past 2 weeks was real enough to matter. It was real. It is real. But not real enough. Not more real than what you have with him. I don't know what I have with him anymore. I don't know if I can marry someone who will always have one foot in that world. Who will always be one crisis away from violence. Then don't marry him. Choose me. Choose the normal life we could build together. Daniel. I'm falling for you, Julian. I know it's fast. I know it's complicated. But these past 2 weeks, you've become important to me. You make me laugh. You make me feel like everything's going to be okay. And I hope I do the same for you.
He did.
God help me, he did. I need time, I said. To think. To figure out what I actually want. How much time? I don't know. But Daniel, you need to understand, Seo-jun and I have history. Complicated, messy history. I can't just walk away without being sure. I understand. He moved toward the garden gate. But Julian, while you're figuring it out, remember this. I will never put you in danger. Never make you wonder if I'm coming home. Never force you to live in a world where violence is always one phone call away. I can offer you peace, safety, normal, boring, beautiful life. And if that matters to you, if that's what you want, then I'm here, waiting.
He left.
And I stood in the garden alone, torn between 2 men offering completely different futures. Both real, both valid, but only one felt sustainable long-term. I just wasn't sure which one. The next morning, I woke to find Min Seo in the kitchen. Seo-jun's ex-wife. Ji-hoon's mother. The woman who'd left 15 years ago because she couldn't live with the violence anymore. You must be Julian, she said, extending her hand.
I mean Seo.
I apologize for arriving unannounced. Jihoon called me last night. Told me Seo Jun was injured. I wanted to make sure he was alright.
He's resting.
The doctor says he'll recover fully. Good. That's good. She poured herself coffee. May I ask you something personal? I suppose. Why are you here? Why choose a man with his past, his complications, when you're young and beautiful and could have anyone? Because he saw me when I was invisible, made me feel valued when I felt disposable, gave me power when I felt powerless. And now, do you still feel those things? I thought about it, about the past 19 days alone, about Daniel making me laugh, about realizing I could help people without Seo Jun. I don't know. I think maybe I needed him to become who I am now, but I'm not sure I need him to stay who I am. Min Seo smiled. That's very self-aware and very brave. What happened between you two? If you don't mind me asking. I loved him.
Deeply.
But I couldn't compete with his work, with the violence, with the constant threats and late-night emergencies and blood that never quite washed off. She set down her coffee cup. I gave him an ultimatum, me or the organization. He chose the organization, so I left. Do you regret it?
No.
Leaving was the right choice for me, for Jihoon. But I do regret that I never got to know the man he became after retirement. The man who apparently learned to be gentle, to be present, to actually love someone without control. He learned that with his late wife, the one before me. I know, Yunhee. She was good for him. And he was devastated when she died. Spent 12 years alone after that, convinced he didn't deserve love. Min Seo looked at me directly. And then you came along, broken and angry and looking for revenge. And somehow you two healed each other. I'm not sure we did. I think we might have just been band-aids, temporary fixes while we avoided dealing with our real issues. That's possible. But band-aids serve a purpose. They stop the bleeding long enough for real healing to begin. She stood. I should go see him, if that's all right with you. Of course. After she left, I sat in the kitchen alone, thinking about temporary fixes and real healing. Maybe Min Seo was right. Maybe Seo Jun and I were never meant to be together forever. Just transitional. Helping each other through crisis until we were strong enough to want something different. I found them in Seo Jun's bedroom an hour later, talking quietly, comfortable in a way that spoke of long history. Julian, Seo Jun said when I entered. Min Seo came to check on me. So I heard. We've been talking about the past, about our mistakes, about Jihoon. He looked tired but more at peace than I'd seen him since he got home. She's been watching me from a distance for years, making sure I really retired, really changed. And have you? Min Seo asked him. Changed? Or have you just been waiting for an excuse to become the Reaper again? Both, I think. I changed because I was exhausted, tired of violence and death and constant threat. But I also missed it, the clarity, the purpose. He looked at me. And now I don't know if I can promise Julian that I'm done forever. Because clearly I'm not. The moment Yamamoto showed up, I put on the old armor and became exactly who I always was. You were protecting her, Min Seo said. Was I? Or was I protecting my ego? Proving I could still do it? Showing Julian and Jihoon that I'm still dangerous. Does it matter? I asked. The motivation, I mean. You did what you had to do. Completed the mission. Paid the debt. Now it's over. Is it? Or is there always going to be another debt? Another enemy? Another reason to become the Reaper? I don't know. But Seo Jun, I can't live my life waiting to find out. Silence. Heavy and uncomfortable. Finally, Min Seo stood. I should give you two privacy. But before I go, I want to say something. To both of you. She looked at me. Julian, you deserve someone who can give you peace. Who won't make you wonder if he's coming home. Whether that's Seo Jun or someone else is your decision. But don't choose danger just because you've gotten used to it. She looked at Seo Jun. And you're a good man who's done terrible things. You've been trying to atone for 30 years. But maybe atonement isn't about retirement or isolation. Maybe it's about being honest about who you are and letting people choose you anyway or not. Stop trying to be perfect. Just be real. After she left, Seo Jun pulled me to sit beside him. She's right, he said. About all of it. I've been trying so hard to be worthy of you that I forgot to just be myself. And myself includes the capacity for violence. The willingness to become the reaper when necessary. I know. And you're not sure you can live with that.
No.
I'm not sure. Have you talked to Daniel? Since I got back. Briefly. He said. I stopped. He said he's falling for you. How did you? I saw the way he looked at you in the garden. The way you looked at him. Julian, I'm not blind. And I'm not stupid. You've been spending time with a good man who represents everything I can never be. That's not fair. It's completely accurate. Daniel can offer you the normal life you thought you wanted before Ji-hoon destroyed you, and I picked up the pieces. He touched my face. And maybe that's what you should choose. The life you wanted before trauma changed you. Or maybe trauma showed me who I really am. Someone who's stronger than I thought. Someone who can handle complicated and dangerous, and someone who deserves better than wondering if her fiancé will come home from his business trips. I had no response to that. We sat in silence for a long moment. Then Seo Jun said, I need to tell you something. While I was in Singapore, Min Seo and I talked on the phone several times. She wanted to make sure I was okay. That the mission wasn't making me lose myself again. And she asked if I was truly happy, truly at peace with retirement. I told her I was trying to be. What does that mean for us? It means that while you're deciding whether you want to be with me or Daniel, I'm realizing something. He took my hand. I spent 12 years in retirement trying to atone, trying to be good enough to deserve love again. But I never made peace with the people I hurt most. Min Seo.
Yehon.
Myself. Are you saying you want to get back together with your ex-wife?
No.
We're not those people anymore. Too much time has passed. Too much pain. He squeezed my hand. But I am saying that maybe you and I were never meant to be forever. Maybe we were just what each other needed to heal. You from Ji-hoon's betrayal. Me from 12 years of isolation. So you're giving up on us? I'm being honest about what we might be. I love you. I'll always love you. But Julian, sometimes people come into our lives to teach us what we need, not to stay forever. Tears burned my eyes. That's a very poetic way of letting me go. I'm not letting you go. I'm giving you permission to choose what's actually best for you. Not what you think you should want. Not what feels exciting or dangerous or like you're proving something. What will actually make you happy long-term? What if I don't know? Then take time to figure it out. I'll be here. Until you tell me you're leaving. I spent the next 3 days in a fog. Seo Jun recovered quickly. The knife wound was painful, but not serious. Within a week, he was up and moving around this state. Min Seo visited daily. Not romantically, they were careful about that. But building something. Friendship. Partnership in helping Ji-hoon heal.
And me, I was paralyzed by choice.
Daniel texted every day. Thinking about you. No pressure. Just wanted you to know.
Kind.
Patient. Safe. Seo Jun gave me space. Didn't push. Just existed in the same house, occasionally looking at me with eyes that held too much understanding. My sister called. You need to make a decision. This limbo is killing you. I don't know how to choose. Between what? Between the man who saved me and the man who could keep me safe. Between passion and peace. Between complicated love and simple love. Those aren't opposites, Julian. You can have passion and peace. Complicated and safe. But not with someone whose past keeps demanding blood. So, You think I should choose Daniel? I think you should choose whoever you can build a life with. Not just a moment. Not just crisis and drama and protection. An actual sustainable life. She was right. I knew she was right. But knowing and accepting were different things. On day 3, I asked both men to meet me in the garden. Neutral ground. Where this had started in a way. Seo Jun arrived first. Moving carefully, still recovering. He sat on the bench beside the fountain. Daniel arrived moments later. Stood rather than sat. Like he was preparing to run. Thank you both for coming, I said. I need to. I've made a decision. They waited. These past 3 months have been the most complicated of my life. I came here hurt and angry, looking for revenge. I found protection.
Power.
Love. I looked at Seo Jun. You gave me all of that. Made me feel valued when I felt disposable. Showed me I was stronger than I thought. But, he asked quietly, but I can't live wondering when the past will show up again. When the next debt will come due. When the next mission will take you away, or worse, not bring you back. My voice broke. I love you. So much. But I can't marry the Reaper. And I don't think you can separate yourself from him anymore. Maybe you never could. Seo Jun's expression was resigned. Sad but not surprised. I understand. Just like that? You're not going to fight for me.
No.
Because Daniel is right. He can give you something I can't, real safety. Not just physical protection, but emotional security. Knowing his past won't suddenly demand blood. And Julian, you deserve that. You deserve to sleep peacefully. To build a life without fear. To just be normal. I turned to Daniel. I'm choosing you. Not because I don't love Seo Jun. But because I want the life you're offering. The normal, safe, boring, beautiful life where the biggest drama is work stress or family visits. Daniel's face transformed. Relief.
Joy.
Hope. Are you sure? I'm sure. He pulled me into a hug. I let myself be held. Let myself feel safe in a way that didn't require armed guards and security systems. Over Daniel's shoulder, I saw Seo Jun stand. Move toward us.
Daniel, he said.
Take care of her. Give her the life I never could. And Julian. He touched my face one last time. Thank you. For these 3 months. For showing me I could love again. For making me believe redemption was possible. Seo Jun. Go. Be happy. Build something good together. You deserve every happiness. He walked away. Back to the house. Back to his world of complications and danger and unfinished business. And I walked away with Daniel. Toward a future that felt safe and possible and real. But as we drove away from the estate, I couldn't help looking back. Watching Seo Jun disappear from view. Wondering if I'd just made the best decision of my life or the worst. She actually chose Daniel? The safe guy over the mafia boss? And Seo Jun just let her go without fighting? I'm emotional about this. Subscribe because the next phase is going to show us if she made the right choice, and I'm not sure I'm ready for that answer. Are you? 3 months later, Daniel and I found an apartment downtown. Small but bright. 2 bedrooms, one for us, one for an office. It's perfect, I said, standing in the empty living room. It's tiny compared to what you're used to. It's ours. That makes it perfect. We furnished it slowly. IKEA furniture we assembled together. Thrift store finds we refinished. Art from local artists. It felt real. Earned. Not given. I went back to work full-time. Marketing director for a non-profit focused on small business development. Using my skills to help people like Daniel, vulnerable entrepreneurs targeted by predatory practices. Daniel rebuilt his business. Smaller now, more careful, but growing steadily. We had routines. Morning coffee together. Evening dinners we cooked. Weekend farmers markets and museum visits. It was exactly the normal life I'd said I wanted. So why did it sometimes feel hollow? You're thinking about him again. Daniel said one evening. We were cooking dinner together, pasta, his mother's recipe. I'm not. Julian. I can tell. You get this distant look. Like you're somewhere else. I'm sorry. Don't apologize. You loved him. Probably still do. That doesn't just disappear. It should. I chose you. I should be all in. You are all in. But you can be all in and still miss what you left behind. He stirred the sauce. I'm not threatened by Seo-jun. I'm secure enough to know you chose me for good reasons. What reasons? Safety.
Peace.
A life where you don't have to wonder if I'm coming home. That's what you said you wanted. It is what I want. But I don't know. Sometimes I wonder if I made the safe choice instead of the right choice. Daniel set down the spoon, turned to face me fully. Do you regret choosing me?
No.
Not regret. Just, I struggled to find the words. Sometimes I miss the intensity. The feeling that every moment mattered because tomorrow wasn't guaranteed. The way Seo-jun looked at me like I was the most important thing in his world. And I don't make you feel that way? You do, but differently. Quieter. Less consuming. And you're realizing that maybe you needed the consuming love, even if it came with danger. Maybe. I don't know. Daniel, I'm sorry. This isn't fair to you. Stop. Stop apologizing for having complicated feelings about a complicated situation. He pulled me close. Julian, I love you. I want to build a life with you. But I also want you to be sure, really sure, not just settling for safe because you're scared of danger. I'm not settling. Aren't you? Because these past 3 months, you've been present, but not fully present. You're here, but part of you is still at that estate, wondering what might have been.
He was right. God, he was right.
What do I do? You figure out what you actually want. And if that means you need to see him again to get closure or clarity or whatever, then do it. Because I'd rather you be certain now than leave me 5 years from now because you spent our whole relationship wondering. I didn't go back to the estate, but I did call Taemin. Ms. Bachman, he said, his voice carefully neutral. How are you? I'm well. Is Seo-jun? How is he? He's healing. In several ways. What does that mean? Mrs. Kong, Ms. Seo, has been visiting regularly. They're rebuilding their friendship. Working through old pain. It's been good for him. My stomach clenched. Are they back together?
Not romantically, no.
But they're becoming close again. Family. The way they should have been all along. And Ji-hoon has been visiting more frequently. He and Mr. Kong are working on their relationship. Slowly. There's still anger, still resentment. But they're trying.
I'm blah.
He deserves that. Family healing. Ms. Bachman, may I ask, are you happy with your choice?
Was I?
I'm building a good life with a good man. That should be enough.
Should be isn't the same as is. No.
It's not. After we hung up, I sat with the question. Was I happy? I was safe. Stable. Building something sustainable with someone who loved me without complications. But was I happy? I didn't know. For months after leaving Seo-jun, Daniel proposed. We were at the restaurant where we'd had our first real date. Nothing fancy. A neighborhood Italian place with good pasta and better wine. Julian Bachman, he said, pulling out a ring. Small but elegant. Will you marry me? I stared at the ring. Thought about what saying yes would mean. Permanent commitment to this life. This man. This safe, normal, uncomplicated future. Thought about what saying no would mean. Admitting I'd made a mistake. That safe wasn't enough. That I needed the intensity I'd left behind. Can I think about it? I asked. Daniel's face fell. You need to think about whether you want to marry me? It's not. I just need to be sure. Really sure. You deserve someone who's all in, who doesn't have reservations. Then maybe I'm not that person for you. Daniel. No, it's okay. I get it. He put the ring away. You love him. Still. After 4 months and everything we've built, you still love him more than you love me. That's not true, isn't it? Because when I asked you to marry me, your first thought wasn't yes or no. It was about him. About whether you made the right choice leaving him. I just need time. How much time? Because Julian, I can't keep being second best. Can't keep wondering if you're going to wake up one day and realize you chose wrong. I didn't choose wrong. Then prove it. Say yes. Choose me fully. Or let me go so I can find someone who doesn't have to think about whether she wants to marry me. It was an ultimatum. Fair, probably. But an ultimatum nonetheless. I need to see him, I said. One more time. To get closure. To be sure. And if seeing him makes you realize you want him back, then I'll be honest with you. And we'll end this before either of us gets hurt more than we already are. Daniel was quiet for a long moment. Then, okay, go see him. Get your closure. But Julian, when you come back, you need to be all in or all out. No more limbo. No more wondering. Choose him or choose me. But choose. I drove to the estate on a Saturday morning. Taemin let me through the gate. Ms. Backman. Mr. Kong is in the garden. Is he alone? Mrs. Kong is with him. But I'm sure they won't mind the interruption. Minesio. Of course she was there. I found them having tea under the pergola, talking quietly, comfortable in a way that made my chest tight. Julian, Seo Jun said, standing when he saw me. This is unexpected. I'm sorry to interrupt. I needed to see you. Of course. He looked at Minesio. I'll give you privacy, she said, standing. As she passed me, she touched my arm. Whatever you're here for, be honest. With him and yourself. After she left, Seo Jun and I sat in silence for a moment. You look well, he said finally.
Happy.
I'm trying to be. That's not the same as being happy.
No.
It's not. What are you doing here, Julian? Daniel proposed. Last night. And I couldn't say yes. Because I realized I've spent 4 months building a life with him while still thinking about you. Seo Jun's expression didn't change. And you're here too? I don't know. Get closure? Figure out if I made the right choice. See if you're still. I stopped. Still in love with you?
Yes.
I still am. That hasn't changed. And Minesio? Taemin said you've been rebuilding your relationship. As friends. As co-parents helping our son heal. But not romantically. That ship sailed 15 years ago, and neither of us wants to board it again. So you're just alone?
I am healing.
Learning to be enough for myself. Not needing someone else to make me feel worthy or redeemed. He looked at me directly. And you? Are you here because you've realized you made a mistake? Or because you need me to tell you it's okay to move on? I don't know. Julian, let me ask you something. When Daniel proposed, what was your first thought?
I thought about it. Really thought about it.
Relief. That someone wanted me enough to propose. That I'd have the normal life I thought I wanted. And your second thought? That I wished you were the one asking. Seo Jun closed his eyes briefly. That's not fair to Daniel. I know. He's a good man. He can give you everything I can't. Safety, normalcy, a life without complications. You should marry him. Should I? Because you're telling me to? Because it's the right choice for you. Julian, what we had was what? Beautiful. Important. Necessary. But not sustainable. We were healing each other. Filling holes left by other people. You from Ji-hoon's betrayal. Me from 12 years of isolation. But once we healed, we stopped needing each other the same way. That's not true. Isn't it? These past 4 months, you've built a life without me. I worked, made friends, rebuilt your independence. You didn't need my protection or power or resources. You just needed yourself. And Daniel, who supports you without consuming you. I miss the consuming, I admitted. I know. But Julian, consuming isn't sustainable. It burns out, turns toxic, becomes possessive.
He reached for my hand.
I loved you consuming. Intensely.
Desperately.
But that kind of love isn't meant to last forever. It's meant to transform you, to show you who you can be. And then you're supposed to take that transformation and build something sustainable with someone who won't keep dragging you back into darkness. You're really telling me to marry Daniel. I'm telling you that if your first thought when he proposed was relief rather than joy, you need to figure out why. And if the answer is because you're still holding on to me, holding on to the intensity and danger and complicated passion, then yes, you should let me go. Really, let me go. And embrace the life you're building. What if I can't? Then you need to be honest with Daniel, because he deserves someone who's all in, who doesn't wish she was somewhere else. We sat in silence. Then I asked, "Are you happy? Really happy?" "I'm at peace," which is better than happy. Happiness is fleeting. Peace is sustainable. He smiled. Min SEO and I have been talking about the past, about our mistakes, about Ji-hoon. It's been healing in ways I didn't expect. Will you get back together?
No.
But we'll be family again. Friends. Co-parents who actually parent together. That's enough. And you'll just be alone? Forever. Maybe. Or maybe someday I'll meet someone who can accept all of me, the Reaper and the man trying to be better. But Julian, you're not that person. You tried to be, but you can't live with the constant threat. The knowledge that my past might always demand payment. And that's okay. That doesn't make you weak. It makes you human. Tears spilled over. I wanted to be strong enough. You are strong enough. Strong enough to choose what you actually want rather than what you think you should want. Strong enough to leave when staying would have destroyed you. He pulled me into a hug. Go back to Daniel. Say yes. Build your beautiful normal life. And let me finish becoming someone who doesn't need saving or redemption or consuming love. Just someone who's enough. I love you, I whispered. I love you too. But sometimes love isn't enough. Sometimes you need compatible life goals. Compatible tolerances for risk. Compatible visions of the future. He pulled back to look at me. Your future is with Daniel. Mine is healing alone. That's okay. I left the estate for the last time. Drove back to the apartment where Daniel was waiting. Well, he asked when I walked in. I saw him. Got closure. And you're right. I've been holding on to him. On to what we had. Using it as a shield against fully committing to you. Past tense. I'm ready now. Really ready. To be all in. To build this life with you. To stop wondering what if.
Daniel studied me.
Are you sure?
Yes.
Ask me again. What? Ask me to marry you. Again. Please. He pulled out the ring. Knelt in our tiny living room. Julian Backman. Will you marry me? Build a life with me? Choose me every day, not just when you're scared or running from something else.
Yes. I'll marry you.
And I'll choose you. Every day. Because you're what I actually want. Not what I think I should want. Not the exciting, dangerous romance. The real, sustainable, beautiful, everyday love. He slipped the ring on my finger, and I chose to believe I meant it. 6 months later, my wedding day was perfect. Small ceremony in a garden downtown. 50 guests. My sister officiated. Daniel's family filled half the seats. Loud, loving, welcoming me completely. Seo Jun sent a gift. Beautiful Korean pottery pieces and a note. Wishing you every happiness. You taught me that sometimes the greatest love is letting go. Thank you for that lesson. SJ. I cried reading it. Happy tears, I told myself. Grateful tears. Daniel pretended not to notice. The ceremony was beautiful. Our vows were honest, promising to choose each other, support each other, build something sustainable together. The reception was joyful. dancing and laughter, and Daniel's mother pulling me aside to say, "Welcome to the family, baby girl." It was everything a wedding should be. So why did I keep thinking about what Seo Jun was doing? If he was happy for me? If he was okay? "You're doing it again," Daniel said during our first dance. "Doing what?"
Thinking about him.
"On our wedding day." "I'm not. Julian, you've been distracted all day. Not unhappy, just somewhere else."
I'm sorry.
"I'm here. I'm present. I'm married to you, and I'm happy about it."
Are you?
"Because you don't look happy. You look like you're trying to convince yourself you are." The song ended. People applauded. We smiled and waved and pretended everything was perfect. But that night, in our hotel room, Daniel finally said what we'd both been avoiding. "You're not over him, are you?" I wanted to lie, to insist I was completely committed, that choosing Daniel meant Seo Jun was in the past. But he deserved honesty. "I don't know. I love you. I chose you. But there's a part of me that will always wonder what my life would have been like if I'd been brave enough to stay." Brave enough? To live with the danger, the complications, the intensity, instead of choosing safety. Daniel was quiet for a long time. Then, "I can't compete with the fantasy. With your memory of how exciting and dangerous and consuming your relationship with Seo Jun was. Because real life isn't like that. Real life is grocery shopping and paying bills and dealing with in-laws and figuring out whose turn it is to clean the bathroom." "I know."
Do you?
"Because, Julian, I need to know, am I enough? Or am I just the safe choice you settled for because you were too scared to want more?" The question hung between us, and I realized I didn't have a good answer. "I don't know," I whispered. "I wish I did, but I don't know." "Then we need to figure it out, before we build a life on a foundation of uncertainty." 3 months after my wedding, I filed for divorce. Not because Daniel was bad. Not because he didn't love me. Not because we weren't compatible. But because I'd realized something devastating. I'd married him to prove something. To myself. To Seo Jun. To everyone who thought I was crazy for getting involved with a mafia boss. I'd married him to prove I could choose normal. Could be satisfied with safe. But I couldn't. Not really. I missed the intensity. The consuming love. The feeling that every moment mattered because tomorrow wasn't guaranteed. I miss Seo Jun. And staying married to Daniel while missing someone else wasn't fair to anyone. "I'm sorry," I told him the day I signed the papers. "You deserve someone who's all in, who doesn't wish she was somewhere else." "I deserved that from the beginning," he said. His voice was gentle but firm. "I deserved honesty about where your heart was. I tried." "You tried to make yourself want me more than you wanted him. That's not the same as actually wanting me." He was right. We parted as friends. He was gracious about it, understanding. But it hurts. Deeply hurt. And I didn't blame him. I went back to the estate. Taemin let me through the gate. "Ms. Backman. Or is it Mrs. Rivers now? It's just Julian."
And no.
I left Daniel. Got divorced.
I see.
Mr. Kong is in his study. I found him reading. Silver hair, catching the afternoon light. Reading glasses perched on his nose. Looking peaceful in a way he never had when I'd lived there. "Julian," he said, standing when I entered. "What are you doing here?" "I left Daniel. We're divorced." "I'm sorry to hear that." "Are you?" "Because I came back for you. To tell you I made a mistake. That I should have chosen you. That I was stupid and scared and chose safety over love." Seo Jun was quiet for a long moment. Then, "No."
No.
"Julian, you didn't make a mistake. You made the choice you needed to make. And now you know what you actually want. Not what you thought you should want, but what you can't live without. And what's that? Intensity. Passion. Consuming love. Even if it comes with danger." He moved closer. "But Julian, I can't give you that anymore." My stomach dropped. "What?" "I've spent the past year healing. Working with Min SEO to repair my relationship with Jihoon. Building peace. Learning to be enough by myself. And I can't go back to consuming love. It's not healthy for either of us. So, you don't want me back? I didn't say that. He touched my face. I said I can't give you consuming love, but I can give you partnership. Deep, committed, sustainable love. The kind that doesn't burn out, that doesn't consume, that just endures. That's what I wanted with Daniel.
No.
With Daniel, you wanted safety. There's a difference. Safety means no risk. Partnership means sharing risk. Building something together that can withstand complications. He smiled. I can't promise my past won't show up. Can't promise I won't sometimes have to be the reaper. But I can promise I'll be honest about it. That we'll face it together. That I won't leave you alone and wondering anymore. You really mean that? I really mean that. But Julian, he pulled back slightly. You can't come back because you're running from a failed marriage. You can only come back if you genuinely want this life. Want me. Complications and all. I do want that. I spent a year missing you, realizing that safe and boring isn't what I actually wanted. That I need the intensity, the partnership with someone who sees me completely. And Daniel? Any regrets? Only that I hurt him by not being honest sooner. But no, I don't regret leaving. I regret marrying him when I should have waited. Should have been sure. Then, let's be sure this time.
No rusing.
No grand gestures. Just seeing if we can build something sustainable. Together. I'd like that.
Good.
Because Julian, I love you. I've loved you since the moment you showed up at my door angry and hurt and looking for revenge. But this time, let's build something real. Not just healing each other. Not just consuming passion. Real, honest, complicated partnership.
Deal.
He kissed me. Gentle. Honest. Not consuming. Just real. And for the first time in a year, I felt like I was exactly where I was supposed to be. 1 year later. CO June, and I never remarried. We didn't need to. Legal marriage felt unnecessary when what we had was already more committed than any piece of paper. I moved back to the estate. Not as the woman he'd saved. As his partner. I kept my job at the nonprofit. Kept my independence. Kept my own money and my own choices. We built something sustainable. Beautiful.
Honest. Jihoon visited regularly.
His relationship with CO June was still complicated. But healing. Growing. You came back, he said one afternoon. We were having tea, the three of us in the garden. I did.
Why?
After you had the normal life you said you wanted? Because I realized normal isn't what I actually wanted. I wanted a partnership with someone who sees me completely. Who doesn't try to protect me from reality. Who just shares it with me. Jihoon looked at his father. And you? You're really done being the reaper? No, CO June said honestly. The past will probably demand payment again. Enemies don't forget. But this time I won't lie about it. Won't hide it. Julian knows what she's getting into. And you're okay with that? Jihoon asked me. I am. Because he's worth it. The complications, the danger, the uncertainty, all of it is worth it for what we have. That's either very brave or very stupid. Probably both. Min SEO arrived with food. We ate together. Not a perfect family. Just a real one. Later, alone with CO June, I asked, do you think we'll make it? Long term? I think we have a better chance than most. Because we know exactly who we are. What we're capable of. What we need.
No illusions. No fantasies.
Just honest, complicated love. I can live with that. Good. Because Julian, you're it for me. Last chance at love. Last chance at redemption. Last chance at building something real. No pressure. He laughed. Exactly. We sat on the balcony, watching the sunset. And I realized this was liberation. Not being saved. Not being protected. Not being consumed. just being seen,
Completely.
and choosing to stay anyway. I'd been looking for safety when what I actually needed was honesty. I'd been looking for normal when what I actually needed was real. And Seo Jun, complicated, dangerous, beautiful Seo Jun, was the most real thing I'd ever found.
The end.
They say you can't go back. That leaving means leaving forever. Julian proved them wrong, not because she returned to where she started, but because she returned knowing exactly what she wanted. Seo Jun learned that redemption isn't about being perfect. It's about being honest. Ji-hoon learned that forgiveness is a process, not a moment. Min-so learned that you can rebuild a family after it's broken. Daniel learned that being someone's second choice isn't enough. And Julian learned the hardest lesson of all. Sometimes choosing yourself means choosing complications.
Choosing danger.
Choosing honest imperfection over safe pretending. She didn't get a fairy tale ending. She got something better, a real one. So she left the safe guy and went back to the mafia boss. But this time it's different because they're both honest about who they are. This is the most real mafia romance I've ever seen, and I am here for it. Sometimes the best love isn't the safest one. It's the honest one. Subscribe because next week's story is completely different. The tech billionaire thought his assistant was ordinary. She was actually running a revenge operation against his family. It's twisty. It's intense. It's incredible. See you there. Real talk time. Did Julia make the right choice going back to Seo Jun? A. Yes. She needs intensity and honesty. Daniel was too safe. B. No. She should have given the safe relationship more time to work. C. There's no right answer, just her answer. D. She should have stayed single and figured herself out first. Drop your answer in the comments. And be honest. Did you cry when she realized she'd married Daniel for the wrong reasons? Because I did. Also, do you think Seo Jun will actually stay retired this time, or is another crisis coming? And most importantly, was Daniel right to be gracious about the divorce, or should he have been angrier? Sound off below. And yes, this story made me question everything I thought I knew about safe versus passionate love. What about you? Next story drops Friday, and it features corporate espionage, family betrayal, and a woman playing 4D chess while everyone thinks she's just taking notes. You do not want to miss it.